Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to WPRL. This is Max Mitchell in the afternoon behind the microphone. We're ready to start the next broadcast with Dr. Royston.
Living your best life. I'm Dr. Julia Royston, for I've come that you might have life and have that life more abundantly, over the top, to the full, and overflowing. My goal each time we're together is to give you inspiration, information, and introduce you to new ideas, resources, and people that will help you to live your best life. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Today, our special guest is Miss LaTascha Craig. Miss Craig is a Family Resource Center coordinator. Now, you know education is essential to life itself. Education is the passport to the future, for tomorrow belongs to those who prepare for it today. That's a quote from Malcolm X. But education is something that's very important to me, something that is critical and is essential to my life. I come from a family of educators, and I am so excited today to welcome my good friend, my sister, Miss LaTascha Craig.
Thank you. Thank you for having me, Julia.
I'm so glad. I am so glad that you're here with us today. So, first thing is, I want you to introduce yourself to us formally and tell us a little bit more about who you are and your educational background.
Okay. First and foremost, I would have to say that I am a friend of God and a mother of two amazing children, and I am an employee of the public school system here in Kentucky. I am employed as a Family Resource Center coordinator at a local elementary school, and I've been doing that. I'm into my 8th year doing that. But I definitely have to give a shout out to my first love, which is social work. So I'm in the Ministry of Social Work and Education. And just, finally, I hope to be a community leader and someone who uplifts and pours into. That's who I am.
Well, first off, social work and being a family resource center coordinator is clearly ministry. And I realize for the times that I've been in your presence and been around you, it is truly, truly, truly a ministry. And yes, you already are a community leader. So let's just define what the Family Resource Center coordinator actually does.
Julia, I think the real question would be, what doesn't the Family Resource Center coordinator do? But it was Family Resource Center Youth Service Centers were born out of the Kentucky Education Reform Act of 1990. So they're in legislation, but it was to bridge the gap between school and community, parents and teachers, and also to break down barriers to non-academic success, the non-academic barriers to success. And so we do everything: basic needs, mental health, child care, social emotional, character education. Really, it is what don't we do? We are often referred to as the heartbeat of Jefferson County. So just grateful, the common thread, would be that every center offers a specific component, but it looks different in every center simply because you cater it to the community that you're serving.
Exactly, and some family resource centers offer more than even others. There are some basic requests and some basic things. And the Family Resource Center that I was a part of, and I know you do the exact same thing, is we get to clothing, from socks to shoes to coats. That is the place, and it is definitely the heartbeat of the school, because that is the place where you get all your needs, outside needs besides books, pencils, but that happens too. I can't say the Family Resource Center doesn't do that, because if your child needs folders, if they need underwear, if they need t-shirts, I mean, we've come to the rescue of families that have had a fire and they lost everything. They didn't have anything. The backpack was gone, the clothes were gone, everything was gone. And during the holiday season especially, We've done quite a bit for families and for contributing that. So it's the heartbeat of your school. If you have not met your Family Resource Center coordinator, you have not been to school. That's all I have to say as a teacher. You haven't been in the building. So I suggest that you find your school, whether it's elementary school, middle, or high, and find the Family Resource Center coordinator and meet them. So I know education is essential for you, education is essential for me. So give us 1 to 3 tips for students, parents, teachers. We don't have time enough for all 3 of those areas, but if you were to pick 1 to 3 tips for a better educational experience.
I think 1 to 3 tips would have to be relationship, presence, and persistence. And that's across the board for parents, teachers, and students. I often tell my parents that no one should work harder for your child's education than you do. You have to get in that school building, you have to create relationships with the administration, you have to know your teachers. And I used to tell them that it's criminal to send a kid in the building for 6.5 hours a day and you never step foot in there to know who you are entrusting your child to. I no longer say that because some parents have, that opportunity to get in there, but some of them have to work. But there are other ways that you can create that relationship with your teachers. Then you need to have presence when you can. You need to be in that building. You need to be in those parent-teacher conferences. You need to be a part of the PTA. The PTA is your voice. And so then there's persistence. Whatever it is that your child would need to have a successful educational experience, you have to be the #1 advocate for that. You have to be heard, and you have to keep on until you are heard and they receive that. Just quickly about students, I would have to say work ethic and prioritizing and the season of opportunities presented to you. This is how you position yourself for success and take ownership and responsibility for making it happen. And that does not begin in middle and high school. It absolutely begins in elementary school. We have to teach our children how to be scholars. Scholarship is not something that you obtain because you made good grades. Scholarship is a mindset.
And totally. And it has to be a two-way communication. I know that I've been definitely on the teacher side because there's a lot of weight put on teachers and that's a whole another show for the political aspects as far as teachers are concerned. But it needs to be a partnership and it has to be in this relationship, it has to be both sides. If you don't get it from the teacher, then you need to push back and ask, request, email. There's got all kinds of technology out there. There's Dojo, there is the parent portal that's on the JCPS site, and if you're hearing this in another avenue, I am quite sure, I can almost guarantee that there is some type of interface technologically, parent portal between your school district and your parents, your teachers. And if that is not happening in your district, you need to start with your principal first and then head to the school district. We should not be 2 or 3 months and you haven't heard from your parents. You haven't heard from your teacher. You should not be, there should be a piece of paper in a folder or a backpack or someone, so that somewhere that relationship should happen. There is never should be a time where you haven't heard from a teacher all month long or all week long. That is an active thing that we have to do, is the communication. That's a part of our job. If we're not, we will be in severe trouble. I haven't been retired from teaching that long, so I remember the rules. That communication is essential. Whether the child gets hurt or not, whether there's an accident or not, if it's something good that should happen, we need to reach out and be in that communication. So relationships are key, and there's all types of ways. Just from my point of view, parents, do not be ashamed, embarrassed, inhibited by your circumstance. If you do not have a vehicle, let somebody know, because we've sent taxis, Ubers for people. If you do not have a phone, write it on a piece of paper or note. Whatever you have, that's what we're here for. And the essential needs of a child has to happen even before they're receptive academically. And I know that you see that all the time.
I do.
Sometimes we can't even get to learning your ABCs, your colors, and your numbers in elementary school if you're hungry, if you don't have a coat, if you don't have a backpack, if you don't have a pencil or a paper. So as you can tell, I'm a huge advocate of education. I'm a child of educators. My parents are in education. My whole family is in education. And education can't just be a back to school activity.
Absolutely.
It has to be all year long. It can't just be, oh, it's time to go back to school in July when you start seeing the commercials on television. It's all year long. It's every day, all day.
And Julia, what I would say to that, just really quickly, education is not something that happens only inside of a school building. Education begins when your child comes out of that womb. You do not have to have books in order to teach your child how to read. You can read a cereal box to them. Having
Exactly.
a conversation with your child.
Exactly.
Education. Listening to music, just singing songs with them. That's education. That's where it starts. That's what breeds the love in your child for education. So then when they get to school, they're not shell shocked.
Exactly.
So yeah, I just, I want to put that out there because I'm a big advocate for from the womb.
Exactly. And of course, I publish books and I sell books, and oh, he's too young for that. They're not too young to receive whatever. 1-year-old, 2-year-old, they can hear and repeat. If it's a song, they start humming it, even if they can't speak the words or even spell the words. And I tell parents too as well, when you're at a stop sign, the stop sign, what color is it?
Absolutely.
What color are the letters? And what's that first letter? As you're going along, look at the stoplight. What's the color of the red, and what does the red start with? What's the letter it starts with? There are all types of ways. Use your creativity. Use your imagination. Do not be ashamed of where you start. Where you start is just where you start. And what tools and resources that you have available to you, utilize them. That's what we're there for. That's what the tax dollars go for. This society is an educated and progressive society if it does have education and a part of it. So I'm super excited. Thank you so much for being with us. And we're going to take a break right here. And I just have a couple of announcements that I want to bring on because I want to keep you in mind of some upcoming events that are in our local area as well as coming up in 2020 that I want to make you aware of. First off, on November 18th through the 24th, if you're in the Louisville area, Jefferson Mall, BK Royston Publishing has a pop-up bookstore. Yes, I'm going to be having my own store just for a week. November 18th through the 24th will be open when the mall hours are open, and each day there'll be multiple events. There's a children reading hour every morning at 11 a.m. 12 o'clock we'll have a lunch and learn, and 6 p.m. we'll be having an evening lesson as well. Friday evening, November 22nd is going to be spoken word, and Sunday we're going to slide some more gospel in at 3 o'clock on a Sunday afternoon. So the pop-up bookstore, BK Royston Publishing pop-up bookstore, is going to be next to Dillard's and right across from Starbucks. You can't miss us. We're going to be in the heart of the mall. Secondly, have you ever thought about going to London? The United Kingdom? Come on through. BK Royston Publishing has partnered with Heart of Refuge, one of our publishing partners and clients, to go to the United Kingdom. We leave May 27th through June 1st to London. There will be a women's empowerment conference. So we're going to be coming together to learn some new things, experience some new culture, foods, people, and be empowered to be all that we can be on this side of the pond and the other. So visit bkroystonpublishing.com. B as in boy, K as in king, Royston, Royston, publishing.com, and click on the button that says London 2020. We'll give you all the details and how to register and how to be a part, and get on the plane with us May 27th to go to London, England. And then we have a side trip to Paris. You can't be that close to London and not get to Paris. The Eiffel Tower, food, the Louvre, Oh, come on. And go with us. Visit bkroystonpublishing.com and click on the button that says London 2020. It's your life. Take a stand, so live your best life. Live your best life. Come on and live your best life. With Dr. Julia Royston. I'm Dr. Julia Royston, ready to continue on our broadcast for Living Your Best Life, bringing you the ideas, information, and resources that you need to live your best life. I'm so excited to continue with our special guest today, Miss LaTascha Craig. I'm so glad you're here with us. So we're going to switch gears to something that's near and dear to both of our hearts, and that's our collaboration writing project. So tell us a little bit about that. I could, but I want you to tell us why and what it's all about.
Well, if I start with the why, it would definitely be because I have a great love for reading and writing. It was instilled in me from a very early age. And so I read for freedom. And I believe that when children read, there's a freedom in that. It opens your mind to so many things, so many opportunities. It increases that imagination, your creativity. But also the writing part of it was what I did as a child for growth and healing. It was very therapeutic for me to write. I had a very active imagination. I could put those things to paper. And it's often funny to go back and read those things because I probably have about 8 million journals. But that was my intention in getting into that. Now, what sparked that was my son, who also has a great love for reading and writing, was a part of a project that you were publishing in his middle school. And so when he did that, and I was, just floored, the opportunity for my son to be a published author as a 13-year-old, and something that I've always known that God has called me to do, and I was just afraid to step out there and do it. So he showed me by giving that same opportunity to my son in my household, in my face.
Yes, it was in your face.
Absolutely,
clearly.
It was. So that just opened my eyes to giving that opportunity to kids in my school building.
Right.
Simply because we have some amazing children.
Yes.
Who are in our school buildings. And
yes.
when you can get past your own biases and misconceptions and notions, then you can see that in those children. And so just operating out of wanting to give them something that would stick with them for their life, the opportunity to become a published author in elementary school.
In elementary school, yes.
And so we just, once I was a part of that project with my son, and of course I've known you in other ways.
Sure.
I said, let me have a conversation. And I came prepared to beg, but I didn't have to do that. It was easy.
It was easy. No.
So just, fundraising to make the money happen.
Sure.
And then, getting my parents on board, which was pretty easy. And then we had that workshop, where we had the children write, and I did those things with them during the day. The
yes.
teachers were gracious enough to let me do that. And then we come out with the World Changers Project.
Oh, yes.
Written by the compassionate citizens of Foster Traditional Academy. So it was just an amazing experience from front to back. The red carpet book signing,
yes.
That was an amazing experience. And just having that experience with you, the consummate professional, and just always kind of cool, calm, and collected. Well, I mean, I can be high strung, but it was just amazing. And so here we are again. It's time for book 2. Yes.
So first off, book 1 is World Changers. That was with 18 elementary school students. And then the other project that her son was with is the moments matter, a moment that mattered to them. And that was with there was 2 elementary school students, but predominantly those were middle and high school. So being able to instill that love of writing and reading in a younger, under 18 age group has really been a privilege of mine. So, to purchase World Changers book, it is available on Amazon in Kindle and print. So, you're able to purchase that World Changers book. That is with 18 elementary schools. Very creative, very directed, but very creative elementary school students. I met the second group that we haven't gotten a title yet. We're still in the planning stages. The other day, there's 8 of them that are going to be doing a book too, and they're very high level, very selected, a wonderful group of young people that I really look forward to bringing their writings as well. So we anticipate something spring of 2020 for that book to be available. They're in the writing stages and the rough draft and idea stage. You mentioned fear. Fear is one of those key elements to it. Anything in the arts, anything artistic that we seek to do and the public review it and critique it, I mean, it's a part of it, brings fear. But that's my job, is to help you overcome that fear. We direct it, we lead it, and we're able to produce the next and greatest project. Now, I have something that I'm really excited about too. The American Association of School Librarians is going to be in Louisville, Kentucky, November the 14th through the 16th. And when we're here, Ms. LaTascha Craig and myself are both on program. And we are going to be talking about this creative collaborative project that we've done together. And hopefully that'll stem some ideas for other librarians and for other schools to have that project. You know, the Young Authors Project has been out there for years, but it's always been very limited. You won in your area and you might have gotten a prize on the city or the community level. But what we have done is provided a actual physical printed book, a physical e-book that people can actually purchase and have long term. They will never go, it will never go out of style. They'll be a published author forever. And I have to give a huge shout out to my good friend and child I never had, Josiah Finley, for doing the forward for the World Changers Project, because he's an excellent writer. Remember that name. That's a Pulitzer Prize winning child. New York bestseller, New York Times bestseller that's about to happen. But the American Association of School Librarians has selected Miss LaTascha Craig's presentation, which we haven't even done yet, but they have selected her project and her presentation to be on their Academy resources for their website. So the American Association of School Librarians, which is a part of the American Library Association, will have her presentation on their website for life. Oh my goodness!
Gosh, talk about pressure.
No pressure, no pressure, no pressure. So say a prayer for us this week as we give our presentations, but I'm over the top excited for her and for me and for everyone else. Now, I do want, before we sign off, we only have a couple minutes, I do want to, I know she's sitting there going, no, you're not getting ready to do this. Yes, I am. If you need Ms. Craig to come and speak to your school, to speak to your organization, to speak to your librarian, to your church, to your community event, to really talk to parents. We need to get the word out as much as possible. I want to make sure that the barriers are brought down, the bridge has been extended so that no matter what, people can get the information and the resources that they need. Tell them how to contact you. What's the best way for them to contact you to come and speak to their school?
You could contact me at LaTascha Craig. You could contact me at Imagine Me, the word imagine, the word me, rising, RISING, at gmail.com. Imagine Me Rising.
Imagine Me Rising at gmail.com. That's all lowercase, all together. There's no spaces, no dots, no dashes, and all of that. All imagine me rising at gmail.com. All right, send your notice, send your information. Thank you so much for being my guest today.
Thank you.
I'm Dr. Julia Royston. I'm excited and over the top to give you the things you need now, tomorrow, and always to live your best life.
You from the DC area?
Teach me thy word, oh Lord. Teach me thy will, oh Lord. Teach me thy way, oh Lord. Teach me, lead me, keep my soul